You probably know that New York was named after a duke who lived in the 17th century, and that Los Angeles means the angels, but have you ever wondered what names like Cairo and Toronto mean? If you haven't, don't worry, we have. Listed here are the etymologies of the names of 8 different cities from different parts of the globe. Toronto, place where trees stand in the water. The Iroquois had inhabited the area that would become Toronto for centuries before Europeans came. The current name of the city, Toronto, is derived from the Iroquois term Toronto, which means place where trees stand in the water, in this case, Lake Simcoe. The Huron term for Toronto is plenty, but the city has also been known by the spelling Taranto, which refers to a narrows between Lakes Couchiching and Simcoe. Tokyo, Eastern capital. Japan has had several capitals throughout its history, including Nara and Kyoto, which helps explain how Tokyo obtained its current name, and why it wasn't called that before. It was given its current name after the Meiji Restoration of 1868, when Emperor Meiji attempted to swiftly industrialize Japan and introduce Western culture to the land of the rising sun, often at the expense of old practices. During this time, he transferred the imperial capital and renamed the city Eastern Capital. This was a highly conventional step in its own right, as other East Asian cities, including Kyoto, included the word capital in their names. Some people called it Tokay for a while because they preferred the pronunciation of the characters. Rio de Janeiro, River of January. Rio de Janeiro does not have a river, despite its name. Rather, the city is known as River of January in Portuguese because the colonists who landed in 1502 mistook Guanabara Bay for the entrance of a river. Because this occurred in January, the area was named after this almost discovery. However, if you visit Rio, you may hear it referred to as Cidade Maravilhosa, the wonderful city. Oslo, Meadow of the Gods. Norway's capital and most populous city, originally known as Oslo in 1040 and known as Christiania after it was rebuilt following a 1624 fire, did not take on its current title until 1925. Oslo had previously been an unincorporated suburb. Its name, like many others in Scandinavia, is derived from Old Norse. Oslo is translated as Meadow of the Gods by some and meadow at the foot of the hill by others. Those who believe in the godly interpretation attribute this to the word as or onsu, which corresponds to the Old Norse religion. The topographical explanation is more plausible, as many other Norwegian names begin with as and allude to ridges and hills, but it's not as cool. Scholars formerly believed that the mouth of the Low River was the right translation, which has now been proven to be both grammatically and historically inaccurate. Las Vegas, the Meadows. Some people know it as Sin City, the entertainment capital of the world, or just Vegas, but its name in Spanish means the Meadows, which is a much simpler idea. We don't usually think of that geographical feature when we think of Nevada or Las Vegas, but in 1829, the landscape of the Silver State was very different. That's when Rafael Rivera, a Mexican scout who is usually thought to have been the first person who wasn't Native American to visit the area, found a grassy valley with nutrient-rich soil that was kept green by water from a desert spring. Hong Kong, Fragrant Harbor. Before it was Romanized as Hong Kong, the Chinese Special Administrative Territory that has long enchanted visitors was known as Hong Kong. That name is assumed to be a phonetic interpretation of Hung Gong, a Cantonese term that translates to both Fragrant Harbor and Incense Harbor and dates back to 1780. Hong Kong has long been one of the most important commercial ports in the world. The supposedly sweet-tasting waters of the Pearl River may have contributed to the fragrant name. As for the other, a number of incense factories were once located in the city's Kowloon region. Another interpretation comes from John Davis, the governor of Hong Kong from 1844 to 1848, who stated that the name was derived from Hung Keong, Red Stream. He claimed that the name was inspired by the red soil discovered behind a waterfall on Hong Kong Island. Cairo, the Victorious. It's only appropriate that Cairo, one of the world's most famous historic cities, has a name as majestic as the city itself. Though Egyptians commonly referred to it as Mar, the Arabic name for Egypt, its proper name, Al-Qira, translates to the victorious, the vanquisher, or the conqueror. This is due to the fact that the planet Mars, known in Arabic as a Najm al-Kur, the conquering star, is claimed to have been rising in the sky when Cairo was built in 969 CE. However, that is not its only name. Cairo is also known in Coptic Egyptian as Kashromi and Nistram, which mean man-breaker and country of sun, respectively. Abu Dhabi, father of the gazelle. The capital of the United Arab Emirates, and the country's second most populated city after Dubai, has a very attractive name that is regarded to be folkloric. Abu means father in Arabic, and Dhabi means gazelle. As you can expect, the surrounding area is teeming with the gorgeous creatures. Shakbut bin Diab al-Nahyan, who ruled Abu Dhabi from 1795 until 1816, is the subject of the folktale in issue. Shakbut's father, Diab bin Isa, dispatched a hunting team from the Lawa Oasis to chase a gazelle to a spring on the island that is now known as Abu Dhabi 30 years before his reign began. His father later ordered Shakbut to relocate there, and upon his arrival, he erected Qasr al-Hosn, which became the Sheikh's palace.